Okay folks, today the Aquashopper returns. I've got another product that I decided to pick up and unbox and kind of talk about with you guys, as well as the August and the September My Aquarium box and another little thing I wanted to tell you guys about. It's all coming up right after this. Hey YouTube, this is Pecktec, and I am a very avid consumer of aquarium products, as well as many other kinds of products. And so every now and then I get a little curious about something like perhaps a dosing pump, which we're going to look at today. And I pick it up and I just kind of open it. I'm not sure what I'm going to use this on. I kind of wanted to just get into it and see how it works for myself. But I found some really cool things. So if you were serious about getting a dosing pump, I've got what I believe to be a pretty decent little beginner set, and I'm going to share that with you momentarily. Something else I got, and what's looked over far too often is our cleaning products that we use with our aquarium. Now, Seachem actually makes this particular brand. I saw this for sale at my local fish store in a little Seachem box. But this is a magic eraser, basically. A magic eraser with no soap or anything like that on it. They do sell them plain, and I don't know if you knew that. But you can actually get a whole case of the plain ones fairly cheap. Now these don't hold up to like rocks and stuff, so if you got wood or rocks and you're cleaning your tank and you're going to rub against it, it'll rip them apart. And every time you use them, they get a little bit weaker. These are great for cleaning the glass, especially glass that you are real paranoid about and you don't want to scratch. The other thing you tend to use is an old credit card. They're very nice little plastic algae scrapers and a good alternative to like the metal scraper that people tended to use. But I just wanted to point that out. This is a fantastic little aquarium item, and it's fairly inexpensive. Unless you buy maybe a Seachem branded one like I did. But I think probably the cheapest way is to go on the Amazon and just order a box of them. I do have an Amazon link in the description of this video and pretty much all my videos. And what I do is as I buy products and as I explore things that I like, I'll go ahead and add them there. So that's a real handy way to get more information about maybe something that I'm talking about. If you want to see what it costs, if you want to see more details on it, you can find it there. Shopping there, visiting the link, and buying things, of course, helps the channel, and I appreciate it. Thank you in advance. Oh, we've got two My Aquarium boxes to open. And I think maybe I'm going to open these with delight. I'm going to open these with sheer delight. Wow, wow. How magical. Okay, I think this one's August. Let's take a look in here. We have an Omega 1 photo contest entry. We have our scorecard. This box is valued at $46.94. And let's have a look inside. Oh, I know what this is already. This is bound to be a Pleco cave. Oh, and it's a good size one too. Wow, look at that. I'll know if the camera will focus in so you can see it. Yeah, this is an actual My Aquarium box Pleco cave. Very neat. And we have a pod here of some sort. I'm going to have to look and see what this is. This is a dried palm pod. How interesting. Wow, really cool. Botanicals, I found, like, even if you're not going to do black water, the botanicals add a really interesting kind of texture to the bottom of your tank, especially if you just go for like the pods or maybe the pieces of wood. I see we have some cholla wood also. Very handy for just that sort of thing, add a little bit of texture and stuff. My favorite thing to do with this kind of wood is to take advantage of all the little holes and go ahead and mount some Java Fern or a Nubius or some other plant like that that has a rhizome perhaps, they're great to kind of shove into the holes of these things. Let's see. Looks like I've also got a little piece of Malaysian driftwood. Malaysian driftwood is really nice in that it'll sink right away. You don't have to soak this. You probably should still boil it off a little bit to get some of the tannins out, because it'll also release tannins for a really long time. The big downside with this used to be my favorite kind of wood. I'm kind of moving away from it. The reason is it sloughs off a lot of itself. Like it really deteriorates over a long period of time, and it can make your filters really, really dirty. I find that my tanks with this kind of wood in it, the filters get really dirty really fast, and they stay that way. It's like we have a couple of chemicals here. Ooh, Flourish Iron. Flourish Iron. This is really handy. If you've got plants that have a lot of red in them, that red color, a lot of it comes from iron, and the way your plant processes iron, to some degree at least. So there are a couple of plants that you can kind of use as sort of your canary to let you know that you don't have enough iron in your tank if they're not just the right color. This is a good all-around supplement for aquarium plants, and I have used it before. What else do we have here? We also have from Brightwell Aquatics, we have some Fluorine Multi. This is another fertilizer, and it's got, it says it's a multi-use, multi-nutrient. It's got iron and iodine in it. And that is the August My Aquarium box. All right, and let's see about September. Oh, looks like I've got a little note in this one. Hey, some New England goodness for Holly. Eat Smurf pubes. You know going to AE bastard. I think Mike's a little upset that I decided not to go to Aquatic Experience this year. Let's see what Holly's treat is. Ooh, blueberry jam. She is going to love that. Yummy. Thank you very much, Mike. A little towel, too. What's this? Oh, that is cool. Very cool towel. I like it. These are so handy. I've taken to grabbing these little aquarium towels up wherever I can. I have one under every aquarium. Let's see. All right, no scorecard in this one, so we're kind of flying blind. That's okay. It's okay. I've been through this before. Here we have a large bag. It's a mesh bag. You can put some media in. I use these all the time, especially when I start a new tank. We also have spirulina pellets. Some My Aquarium Box brand food. Spirulina pellets. Yummy. Ooh, it looks like we got some leaves. Ooh, I'm not sure what kind of leaves. These are smaller, so they're not almond leaves. But it's some cool stuff from my botanical basket that I have going. I love my botanicals. I love collecting them too. I just like having a bunch of them. I like going through there. I've got this big box, and it's all botanical products that I've collected from these different My Aquarium boxes and some other things that I've bought. And I love going through those things and kind of picking out new stuff to stick into the bottom of the aquariums. Oh. Fritz Guard water conditioner. Well, that's cool. This is a product I haven't seen before. Fritz Aquatics, some water conditioner. It's got aloe vera, vitamin E, reduces stress, promotes healing. Very neat. Makes tap water safe, instantly removes chlorine and chloramine and toxic heavy metals. Very cool. Speaking of heavy metal, we have some little lead weights. These are handy to tie to the bottom of stem plants to help them sink. It's mostly what they're used for. And it looks like we have some shells. Some more little pods. These aren't exactly pods. They look like, they sort of look like little coconut shells. Oh, I'm not sure what these are. They're really neat. More botanicals. Very cool looking little things here. Huh. It's fun to boil these up and see if they stay hard or not. I've had a couple of the nuts and stuff, like the nut pods, and where they'll be open, and then you boil them and they shut again, and then they float. The September My Aquarium box. Well, we will be enjoying this Wild Maine Blueberry Jam and the various products herein. Thank you very much, guys. Mike and Greg in My Aquarium box have been good friends of mine for a long, long time. We hang out whenever we can, play some Trash Pandas. I'm hoping to play some other games too with you soon. Now I'll be seeing Greg at least at the Aquashopper coming up next weekend. 1 week from the day you're watching this, we will have been hanging out for a couple of days. Oh. Whenever I show someone my planted tanks, one of the first things they ask me is, how long do I leave the lights on? 6 hours to start with. The second thing they ask me is, do I dose any fertilizers? And overall, like, it's kind of a yes and no. I go through phases where I'll tend to do it with the water change. Especially the downstairs plants, I keep a little bit of fertilizer in the refrigerator down there. And it's just like the plain Sea Chem Flourish. And I'll walk around and I'll give a couple of squirts into the tanks, or however much is appropriate in the different tanks. So they're not getting it consistently weekly. If it's a week where I'm not doing a water change, or I'm out of town, or something else is going on, you know, they won't get that little squirt necessarily every week. And for other versions of the hobby, you know, the non-freshwater plant hobby, if you're into the saltwater, there's all kinds of other reasons to inject different chemicals into your tank for perhaps calcium for your reefs and different things, even food, even sort of that liquid food that some things eat. There are all kinds of different reasons someone might employ a dosing pump like this. And that's kind of a long way of saying that. If dosing is required, or it's something that you feel that you're going to use a lot, and you want to be really consistent, one way to achieve that is with a little bit of mechanical automation. The only thing smaller than what I have here, or there are a few other options that you can use, like for a single pump. And one might be like a product called the Aqualifter, which will also suck water or suck a chemical through and then push it out the other side. You could hook that up to a timer and get sort of a similar effect, although it's probably a little less consistent, maybe. So we're going to open this up in a second, but what we have here is a small controller with 2 pumps, and those pumps will pump for a certain period of time that you're going to program onto the little console here. You'll put chemicals inside of some small containers. Now you can make these containers yourself, or you can buy them. Least expensive single containers I found were these little ones on eBay. That won't be in my normal Amazon link, so I'll find my eBay link and I'll share it with you. These did come from China. It took maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, something like that. I think these were around $18 a piece. I'm having a hard time remembering now. That was a long time ago when I bought these things. I think it would be really easy to probably make your own containers. So this isn't an essential piece for this little starter set, really just maybe one of these. And this will set you back like less than $60 or so. These are really cool, but I believe the hoses were made for something quite bigger. Obviously, what you would do is you'd attach the rubber hose that's going to go into here, onto this, put it into here, and then kind of seal it up. Right? Yeah. So imagine this would go in the hose, or that would attach to that, and then screw on there to tighten it up. Kind of like you would do a canister filter. And then it's going to be able to suck from the bottom, so the liquid, would settle in here and there won't be any air in the line. And it, of course, came with some handy stickers. If I knew more about chemistry, I'd probably know exactly what those were. All right, well, let's open this thing up and take a look at the DP-2 auto dosing pump from Jicod Eco Marine Aquarium. All right, I haven't gone through and read them all, but it looks probably pretty simple. I'm sure this is a little power source. Yeah, a little power supply. This sort of looks like an extra pump, perhaps. Then the unit itself is made of plastic. It's got a power plug and it looks like a controller plug. So I'm not sure. This might be controllable with like an Apex or one of those other controllers. Then we got some arrow buttons, a little display. We got some LED indicators and the two little pumps. Of course, you can connect the hoses to these pumps. One of these is going to go to a vessel like this that holds the liquid, and the other one will go out into your aquarium or your sump or wherever you're distributing the liquid. So I'm not going to go through a full setup with this today. This will be a project for another time. I'm not going to have time to deal with this week and try to figure out what I want to do. I'm not even sure what tank I want to put it on, because a lot of my tanks are doing okay without this. I did think it would be interesting to just see what it'd be like to be real consistent with one tank and just kind of see what happens. See if I see some remarkable results. Like maybe what I was thinking is maybe I could just kind of go easy, add a little bit, and then over time add more and more of the liquid. And this would let me add a little bit every day, so I could do a really measured amount every day. But how do you know how much you're getting? That's a great question. You need to calibrate these things. So what you do is you get it all set up, you get your liquid in here, and you get this running out to another container someplace, something you can measure. And you get the liquid started. You'll have to kind of fight with the air bubbles and make sure they all get out of there. But once the water or whatever you're sucking through, and you probably want to use whatever chemical you're going to be using too, so you get the right viscosity. Anyway, so you want to get that liquid going through there. You let it run for a certain amount of time, and you measure the amount of liquid that you get. And that'll let you know how long to set your timer for by the dosing, like the amount of liquid that you want to pass through this thing and into the container. Keep in mind your mileage may vary a bit too once you get the full length of the hose going. I think the pressure will probably be different. So if you've got this, maybe these are close together, but this thing's running way up to a long, tall aquarium or something like that, you may want to put your measuring bottle up into the final spot and just go ahead and measure it from there. It's a really neat little kit. It does feel kind of plasticky. You know, I can't speak to the quality of it, of course, because I haven't used it at all. My first impression is, it feels a little cheap, but it's ultra simple. So I don't know. I think the odds are you'll probably have decent luck with it. I like that it came with an extra piece, and that might be just the hose. I don't know if this is the pump or the hose. I'm not sure what all this extra space would be if it wasn't something like to help pump the liquid around. I think that these things I ordered are probably too big, because this hose that would go into this would be really thick compared to the hose that would be going into there. And I know I could probably step it down. I could put a thicker hose on, and then run that to a thinner hose, a smaller hose, and just kind of run it all the way down. And maybe that's what you're supposed to do. I'm going to do a little bit more research and look around before I implement this. But I did want to share it with you. Just a little something to think about. They have really neat, they're a little bit too expensive. I was thinking about getting one of those too, but they have these really neat, like 3 container versions of these. And they have 3 pump versions of these. So you could put 3 different chemicals in there, presumably program them to run for different amounts of time, and pump a certain amount of that liquid in there, and daily, maybe weekly. You know, without reading the instructions to this, I'd say it's probably a daily timer. So you can put a small amount in every day, maybe whatever the equivalent of a week is. You just divide that out. All right, so there you have a neat little dosing pump. And folks, that's all I got today. I'll be back soon with another video. I kind of need to do a big update on the Flex downstairs. I was thinking, oh, I'll do it like a 3-month update, but I keep showing it to you a little bit every week. So I feel like I've already done the update. Do have a couple of other tanks that need to be remediated. I've got these two little tanks. And I've got this other one I want to aquascape. I've got 1 or 2 things in mind for Aquashella that will be pretty fun, and I can't wait to do. More than likely, next week's video might be just a live feed from Aquashella. This is my busy time of year, folks, and I've got so much to do. I've got just stuff coming out my ears, literally. The tank from last week's doing really good. Thanks so much for all the nice comments. And we'll be back. We'll be back with some more stuff real soon. Okay, until next time, follow your bliss. Keep a clean tank, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, today hey YouTube, this is Pecktec, and I, of course, I've got it in the links, or in the description. I do have we also have like a Floramin multi, which is like another multiple use. So whenever I show someone, so I guess what I'm trying to, and that's kind of a long way of saying that